Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Wings Podcast. This is your host, Milind Agnihotri. On today's show, we will meet Madhura Gokarn, a postgraduate in production design and art direction from Film and Television Institute of India, Pune. Her film credits include Sacred Games, Mukkabaaz, Lust Stories, Dum Maroo Dum, Paa and Billu. She has done production design for 60 plus TV commercials and 5 short films, including Bebaak. Recently, she has pulled back from art direction and is focusing on the craft of acting, as it has been a long cherished passion of hers. She can be seen in the recently released Netflix web series Masaba-Masaba Season 2. She has also acted in an upcoming feature film, which is an adaptation of a super hit Malayalam film, Angamaly Diaries. Excited, she says, "These are my baby steps towards my big dreams." Welcome, Madhura, to this episode of Wings Podcast.
Hi, Milind. Thank you. Thank you for the lovely introduction.
No, I mean, this is essentially who you are. This is what you have done. I mean, honestly, from what I know of, there's so much more to Madhura than what I just spoke of. But let's look at what is keeping you busy these days, the world of acting.
Yeah. I'm totally focused on acting and working on my craft and skills and everything. It's an amazing new journey. It's equally scary to start it at this point in my life, but I'm really enjoying this whole process of working on myself and learning to work on my skills, my emotions and everything. It's really lovely.
But why the fear?
I think somewhere, there's no formula to it. No, it's so you just have to give your best, and you don't know what and where it will take you.
So what are some of the projects that you have recently done? Something that you're proud of?
So Masaba-Masaba, which just released last month, and I have worked on a feature which is under post-production. It's based on a Mallu film, Angamaly Diaries. I can't talk much about it, but it was great. We shot in Goa, and it was really amazing being on set. Finally to be able to be on a set and explore everything that you have been working on. That's a really amazing experience.
You moved this from the behind the camera, if I can use that phrase,
Yeah,
which is where you spend much
totally.
of your life, and now standing in front of the camera. So tell me what happens when you look into the camera and perform the role that you are expected to perform.
Yeah, and I know it's part art direction and acting, it being part of the same industry, but those two things are so different. Art direction was completely behind the camera and trying to prep everything for that frame, and finally in acting, I'm part of that frame and trying to be the story. It's really an amazing experience.
So what is that one or two things that is different, Madhura, when you are in front of the camera, unlike the one where you are behind, setting up the frame in that sense?
In art, you are trying to support the character, to make the character's world, and trying to design everything around for the character to look its part. And here it's you're playing that character and trying to be that character with whatever is given to you.
Yeah,
it's it's kind of a yin yang kind of a thing. It goes hand in hand, but you are now playing the other part.
Yes, and I guess what happens in front of the camera, of course, is what we all see, but then what happens behind essentially holds the whole thing. But you say that this has been a long cherished passion of yours. How long are you kind of holding this dream of yours?
I mean, honestly, since childhood. So my first introduction to cinema and what attracted me was acting. So I always wanted to do that, but like slowly in life, how I took up applied arts, and after that I was introduced to the world of art direction. Then I joined the course in FTII, and I got engrossed in, like, being able to be a better art director and trying to tell a visual story and everything. And somewhere the acting thing just took a back seat. And I used to always feel that, okay, now I should maybe explore something, and I should explore something. But back to back, some of the other good projects used to come, and it just took a really long time for me to finally like take this step of like, now it's like completely focusing on acting. And I think I've had good and enough time spent on art direction, and I just wanted to focus on acting.
But that was a long exposure, right? The production design and art direction. I mean, that was how long was the journey?
I was almost a decade, like 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I read the credits as an art director, is Sacred Games, Lust Stories, Paa, Billu. I mean, these are amazing films. So I'm sure. I mean, as an audience, as a viewer, we've enjoyed it. I have enjoyed all of these. I wonder
I have been honestly been.
Yeah, how was being involved in that project? How was that?
Yeah, honestly, been lucky with being able to be part of such good projects since the start of my career, and it's just has like over the journey I have learned so much. On set I have learned so much. Institute was one different story altogether, and finally when you're on set, there's so much of learning, so much of things that you learn through experience, and it has been amazing. Sacred Game has been amazing, like a completely new web series that we all were exposed to, and I got a chance to be part of it. It has some really amazing stories.
No, Sacred Games, you're right. It's in some ways we were introduced to a different kind of cinema, isn't it? With that kind of film.
Yeah.
In terms of the way the characters were written, they were woven. I mean, Gaitonde like became a part of everybody's vocabulary.
Yeah, the format, this change of format, the web series just completely changes how you get more exposure to know all the characters, and it changes a lot than a feature film.
So as an art director, when you do a web series like Sacred Games, or let's say Last Stories, what sort of challenges are thrown at you?
Web series is quite a challenging thing because it has like more than 6-7 episodes, and the shoot itself lasts for like 3 months plus, like in one go. So you are kind of prepping for like more than 2-3 months since before. So it's like a really long chunk of your life you're just dedicated to this one project with every day of like every 20 hours of every day. So it's like quite a lot of time that you have to dedicate to all of it. So it equally, how much it excites you, it's quite challenging, and like can kind of take a toll on you, because you are almost like awake for 20 plus hours. You hardly sleep for 5-6 months, and you're almost like a different person after one show.
No, I mean, supporting functions, whether it could be in life, or it could be in organizations or business roles or whatever. They say that the supporting roles are only felt in their absence.
And specifically with art direction, it is said that if the art is not noticed, that's when you have done the right job. If it is noticed, then it's not your best job.
Can you say more on that?
Yeah. So basically, as like in art direction, you are kind of designing in the frame, you're kind of designing everything other than the actor, from designing to execution to creating everything. And the whole idea is to make it believe. So if for example, if it's a setup of a laboratory, so nobody should notice that it is done. It should just feel like being shot in any laboratory. It can't be saying like quoting that it's a laboratory. It should just merge in, and it should be invisible in a way. That's when you have done the job well.
Yeah, but then aren't you then, let's say, a painter and an architect and so much more, combined into one? I don't know. I mean, can you just tell us more about?
Yeah. So I think somewhere it also depends on what you're specifically working on. If it is for an ad, a lot of times there are bold kind of um, art that you see where the art is speaking out loud to you. It's kind of like making a statement. But when you're shooting for films and web series where you just have to create, maybe you're shooting in a slum and you're just trying to create a character's house which doesn't have to be noticed. It should look like part of that slum. You're just taken that house and you've put a setup somewhere, but that set has to look part of that slum. So it has to really be kind of invisible. I think the difference between architecture and that is that somewhere architects are trying to make it more beautiful always, and art directors are sometimes trying to make it so real. Like we have to kind of do a setup and go and age it, like we are like aging the whole walls, making them look 10 years older. Like we paint something new and then we like completely darken it and make it like look old and shabby. So that way it is a bit different. Otherwise the process is somewhere same, that you create something, you design something and then you execute it. It's just the material and the purpose is kind of different.
But then wouldn't the craft becoming challenging depending upon where you're shooting? I mean, essentially, let's say if it is a studio shoot, it is different, and
Totally.
real location shoots must be a different story, right?
Yeah, totally. That changes everything. If you're setting it up in a studio, there are different challenges because it's very, if you're trying to set up something really realistic, you have to make sure that it doesn't look like a set. Whereas if you are on set, there could be anything from where you're shooting, which city you're shooting, what kind of audio people are around, and what how can you reach the location, how narrow the streets are, or how are the people, are they supporting you? There are like unbelievable number of challenges that you have to face on a set.
So pick one which made Madhura proud.
I'll just tell you, like, I think a few. One I remember, this is a very small incident for an ad. We had put up this really small pan shop on a street of Bombay, somewhere in the town. And we had just finished the setup. We had just put this whole shop and like set up everything with benches and everything around. And one like common man just came and he was like, he just asked us for a cigarette. And that was like that moment for us, we all, like the whole team looked at each other and like, oh, we have done a good job, it's actually looking like a shop. So we had to tell him that we are just shooting here and we are not selling anything. But that was like a really funny and small proud moment. Another I remember was from Sacred Game. We actually shot in the season 2, we shot a lot of stuff in Kenya. So basically we shot the whole outdoor and all the exterior shots in Kenya, and everything that was interior was recreated in Bombay. So there was this setup of a whiskey factory which we had to do in Bombay. And it was like everybody was kind of stressed because it was a huge setup and it has to look like a factory, it can't look like a setup. But the one, it was period, then it was Kenya to be created in Bombay. So it was like everyone was a bit stressed that I don't know what is going to happen, and with all the timelines and everything. So finally, like we managed to get a certain number of wine barrels and bottles and everything, and with whatever location we had, we designed a really lovely setup. And what specifically happened that morning was, on the day of shoot, Anurag came on set and he saw the whole setup and he just walked to me and he just gave me a really big hug, and he was so happy and he was like, I did not imagine this. So I think that was one really like a happy moment for me, because Anurag generally doesn't even mention the art, because he kind of, when he likes it, he likes it. He'll not mention anything. But that specific mention really has stayed with me because it was very special.
Wow.
Everyone was happy after all that the stress around like wanting to create Kenya factory in Bombay, and it really turned out to be really well.
I'm sure it must be happening to you as well. It happens to me many times. Like, for example, I have to make presentations or whatever. I mean, essentially perform the craft that I am involved in. But the night before is a scary night for me. I mean, even after years of work, there is a lot of mental rehearsal that keeps happening to me. I mean, I talk a lot to myself in my head, essentially replaying every aspect of, let's say, whatever I'm supposed to do.
Right.
Do you go through those moments of a lot of talking to yourself?
I can tell you something really funny about myself that way. I have this thing that when I'm really engaged in something very, challenging, my brain is continuously thinking, working on only that thing. And I have experienced these things, and I kind of keep on thinking about the same things even in my sleep. And I have, it's very funny thing that has happened with me is that I kind of art direct even in my sleep. I have moved things in my house in my sleep. So that much involvement happens with anything that I am doing. And my brain is just focused on whatever I'm doing continuously. Like it's quite funny and ironic at the same time.
I'm sure people around you must be wondering what's gone wrong with this girl.
Yeah. My friends have, there are like whole bunch of kissas about my sleep sleep issues that I do, sleep things that I do, and it's always joked about.
No, I mean, in moments like these, and these are exciting phases, I guess, for the work, because that's why we are all passionate doing what we do. Is the people around us know that we are in those immersive moments, and they better stay away in that sense from us.
Yeah,
but then
totally.
You are also a big time health freak, Madhura. Having done your yoga and Kalari prior to, you were telling me when we spoke last.
Yeah. So basically, I am quite a hypermobile person. So I happen to come across yoga like during my college time, and it was just like a small time span where I spent learning yoga. But I reconnected to yoga again in 2018 when my friend, who is a yoga teacher, and I was staying at her place, and she introduced me to this whole new world of how yoga can make you feel, and I really got like hooked to it, and wanted to like take it ahead. And there came a point where I wanted to go advanced, and I just didn't know how to do that. So finally I took up like teachers training course, and I ended up like I'm a trained Ashtanga yoga teacher. And the thing is that like for me from outside it might look like I practice yoga, I practice Kalari, but for me it's more than these particular practices. It's more about just being just keep moving. It's more about movement. Like I always need this physical challenge, kind of a challenge for me to stay more active, more to feel more alive. Like I think somewhere it helps me to be free and to like kind of grow in my individual journey. So it's not just about these particular practices. It's like how I look at movement. It's more than it being individual practices. It's the journey of movement which makes me feel free and helps me grow in life.
Freedom to do what?
Freedom to be able to be yourself, to explore everything that you look up to be. And challenging yourself with new things. I think that's what is very important for me. Not just even in physical journey, in life also. That's the reason why I'm always looking for new challenges in life, and um, moving ahead in life with all those new journeys.
So, you are making this very interesting departure from in your life after a good, a decade of work in art direction.
Yeah.
And stepping into the world of acting, which is your long cherished dream. So, when we make departures, I mean, there are two reasons why we could do that. One is we've kind of had enough of what we have been doing. It has it's not a fatigue sense, but then we feel a sense of fullness is there, a sense of accomplishment is there. Saying that, okay, I think I have done enough and more in this craft of mine called art direction. And then let me explore this new challenge of acting. So it's like moving away from something which is familiar into something which is very unfamiliar. That is one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is the unknown is beckoning you so much that you cannot resist the call.
Right.
You cannot not do it. So I wonder what is happening at this juncture where you're transitioning from art direction to acting.
Honestly, there is a lot of excitement along with a lot of anxiety, if I may say, because there is like I always like these new challenges, which my brain kind of is always looking for some or the other new challenge. I can never settle on with okay, now I was doing this and now I feel comfortable here, but I can't stay with that. I have to get a new challenge always. And acting is, I like, in whatever things I have done since past, I think acting is something is like a challenge every single day, because there's a new character with so many new so many new kind of new stories and new journeys and so many things to explore. It's challenge every single day. And when I say that it's a bit like it gives me a bit of anxiety, is because it's again a fear, like from a not so comfortable, but kind of a my career had reached kind of a stage where after a really long time I had achieved the kind of decent kind of projects, and that would have maybe taken me ahead in that journey. But I took this step back, and now again the journey starting from start. So it's almost like starting all together from like day one in the industry, because in a way nobody looks at okay, you have it doesn't work like that. When you are an actor and you are a new actor, you're just a new actor.
Yes,
it will eventually help me, all my journeys will help me, but right now it's just that I am this new new actor in town, and which makes me a bit anxious at times.
so what of the Madhura from the art direction world you are carrying with you, and kind of what of the Madhura you are leaving behind, if I could ask you that?
I think there is a lots of experience that is going to help me be a better actor. As I mentioned that I've always been wanted to be an actor, but have I done it before? It would have been different, yes, but when I'm doing it right now, I already have so much of experience of so many stories of and so many even with so many times being on set and everything, it's totally going to, like, I'm that thing I'm definitely taking ahead. It's like it's not completely like a new thing for me. Like I crave being on set, but being on set now as an actor is really something that I look forward to.
So Madhura, Bebaak is one hell of a film, which I think was received so well by audiences all around the world for various aspects of the film, and you played a big role as an art director there. So why don't you walk us through about how your craft added to the magic of the film.
So Bebaak is directed by Shazia Iqbal, who I have worked with as an associate for all of my career almost. We were a team, and we have created a lovely we have created lovely films and ads together. So we go long way back, and she wanted to direct, and she narrated me this story, and I was really excited. I kind of told her that we should definitely do this, and it almost, like, I have done the production design, I have done I was kind of assisting her on the film. I was doubling up as casting person, as an EP, and I had like a lot of roles to play on this film. And it was a crazy learning experience. Like it was kind of a film institute in itself, this project for us. And if I can like tell you one really small funny and uh, crazy story from the sets. We were shooting in town, in kind of a ghetto area, where the film is kind of based, and the character goes to this location, which was a real location. And I had set up few things. I'd propped up few things. I'd set up one room there, and a day before I land there to set this up, and that day itself, it was like next day was Bakrid. So I land on the set, and the whole lane that we were going to shoot in had like almost 25 goats tied in that whole lane, where I was supposed to like prop my setup.
Okay.
And I call up everyone. I'm like, guys, we can't shoot here tomorrow because there are goats like standing on our set. And we had to tell them that they have to take away the goats, and the goats that was like, the goats had littered everywhere and everything. So we had to clean all of that and make it like shootable. And I did all of that, and I leave from that set in that evening. And next morning when we come again, the goats are again there. So we had to like again clear all of that, again set up stuff, and then shoot. And this was one craziest day, rainy day in Bombay. It almost flooded that day. And Nawaz was part of this short film, and he was supposed to reach on set at 11, but because of the rains and everything, he almost reached at 12. And not 12, even later than that. I think he reached around 3 or something. And we hardly just had 2 hours, and we had to shoot in between that. And there is like this another story post shoot, how we all went home because it was still raining and flooding in Bombay. So like we really had like crazy days on Bebaak, but it's been an amazing learning journey.
Must be high wire, no? I mean,
Yeah.
tempers must be flying, adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
Everything going there.
It's crazy.
Uh,
Yeah. And finally, when you see what you have created, is I think the best moment of satisfaction, because you know what all went through when you were trying to create that. So when you're almost going mad on during the production time of any project, but finally when you see it, I think that's the time when it kicks in that you have really done this. Like it's done and it's ready, and matlab, if it is appreciated, then nothing like it. Like,
yeah, and must be an
that's
element
like cherry on top.
element of surprise also. No, hey, is this what I did? Is this what we are doing?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Madhura, in many ways, your story, in my view, okay, does represent story of today's India, where young boys and girls like you have their dreams, and they have the courage and conviction to pursue them, and willing to go the 9 yards to take it to the finishing line, and make choices, take decisions, own up the consequences, and live through the highs and lows with one simple aim of achieving what you've set out for yourself. And you said, as a kiddo, you had a dream to become an actor, and your journey to that went through art direction of a good 1 decade long period. So what if you were to script your own story into a film. It could be a web series, it could be a short film, it could be a short duration feature film. But you have to pick up moments of your life which will give the actor in you a lot to do.
Yeah.
So take a moment and
It's
say, what are those pieces of the canvas you want to pick? Let's say from your North Canara roots to growing up in Pune city and then living in this dream city, Mumbai.
Yeah. You know what? It's quite overwhelming to think about this idea because it's
Let's give it a shot.
I I would have never thought of telling my story that way, but now that you have challenged me with something like this, I really like I somewhere I also feel that there is like so much that people can connect to in a way, you know. Uh, this my whole like the kind of person I was as a kid and the person that I became and I have become and I'm becoming with every step of my life. It really surprises a lot of people and sometimes even myself when I look back uh, at my journey or I look back at my old photos and everything that, oh, is this really me? you know and I mean, I would not go into much details right now, but there are some of my personal incidences which can really like make like one dark episode of a web series where the kind of things that I have gone through and learned from them, and become, if I may take the the thing to call myself a stronger person and the person that I have become. I have gone through a lot and I think that can be told in a way in a story and people would connect to it because I think that somewhere there's lots that in some or the other way like a lot of people would feel like, yeah, that could be uh, that has happened to us, or yeah, that happens around, you have seen it or something like that. Not really able to like put it into episodes, but
No,
I'm sure that
no, I'm sure. I mean,
something or the other.
So, given that you love challenges, I know that, of course, this is not a physical challenge, but let's say a mental challenge. But maybe you want to give it a shot of trying to script things. Maybe you can take your own story and write it into a hypothetical character. And,
in a way, even when I mentioned that I always wanted to be an actor um, and I still had a journey which was very different from that. It was quite, a lot of times I did feel that I lacked self confidence in a way, and that has been one journey to get myself here and finally being able to do what I really want to do. And there will be a really nice character's journey, like trying to push herself to achieve her dreams and trying to struggle with her own mm, own fears and own doubts and everything. The character is going to be really strong, I feel.
So let me give you a little supporting stick, let's say, to think through this possible challenging opportunity. If you wish to pick it up offline, you can look at it. Is this phrase which I heard from a very dear friend of mine. He was my teacher, my guru, and friend for many years. And he used to say this, that we are the product of our choices and captives of our compulsions.
Oh, yeah. So true.
And gray is who we are, and accepting and celebrating the gray that we are, and
Yeah.
try and live so many lives in one life possible,
So true. So true.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, somehow I always feel that there are people. There's nothing right and wrong in this, Madhura. I feel. I mean, there are people who like
Yeah.
live a very standard script. You know, I grow up, in a nice, good family upbringing. A boy or a girl, I take a good education. I pick up good career. I find a partner, spouse, have family, kids, blah blah blah. Grow old together, and that's a happy ending. Beautiful story. Typical Basu Bhattacharya films, phenomenal stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then there is
Yeah.
Mr. Anurag Kashyap kind of films where you just don't know what will happen in the next scene, right?
Yes. 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 Definitely.
So there
I
is,
have had moments which have been really crazy and unbelievable.
I can
And
understand. So if
I will be glad if somebody puts them into a film and casts me.
no, you write it. You write it.
Yeah.
You write it. But
Yeah.
then why don't we, take this conversation in a direction where you have to say to something to Madhura right now.
Okay.
What will you tell her?
I would like to tell that anxious me to just calm down a bit, because with the kind of the kind of things that we all have been going through since last few years together with pandemic and everything, and in my personal life, the change in career and the pandemic happening together has just made me so anxious, and sometimes I feel that some of the anxiety does make sense because there's unstable life really, but sometimes it's just too much, like it's too much and it just drains me. So I feel that I would like to tell, like today I'm in a better shape today, and like in a better mood today. So today I would like to tell that Madhura that you can just let that anxiety, leave that anxiety, and live with the same kind of you know um, positivity every day.
Yeah. And take a deep breath and
Yeah.
take the day as it comes.
Yeah, and take the day. Yeah, and somewhere that I forget sometimes that whatever I have gone through, I did go through all of that by myself, so whatever comes ahead will be great.
No, I mean, the kind of ride that you have had almost 10 years plus in a city like Mumbai, as an art director in these amazing projects like,
Yeah.
Sacred
Yeah.
Hearts or Billu and all those TV commercials that you have done with
Yeah.
Shazia. It's not easy, it's tough. And I'm sure you have probably been harsh on yourself much more than you should have been.
Yeah, I agree.
And maybe the time or there are moments that you say, okay, let me embrace myself and give myself a good, nice kiss and say,
So true, so true.
have fun, isn't it?
Yeah, so true. And I honestly, I really want to thank you because this whole journey of like working on this podcast has helped me a lot to just go through everything that I have been, because somewhere in that process of just wanting to do new things and focusing on your new goals and everything, you just forget what all you have been. And it has really like helped me to just brush up everything that I am, and it has really like made me feel good.
No,
So
I
I
mean,
really am thankful.
no, sure. I mean, joy is ours too. And one of the unsaid goals of this podcast, apart from having simple, authentic stories of young Indians, and celebrate them, who they are and what
Yeah.
they are, without sitting in the chair of a judge or without forming opinions or views. I mean, this podcast, Madhura, is also an experiment in trying to curate an experience where one is able to sit
Yeah.
down and listen to a narrative with only one goal, that is to listen. period.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
easier said than done, I believe. But that's the whole idea. And I think with people like you who have walked the not so traditional path, and also traditional in some ways. But कहते हैं ना कि
Yeah.
वो हिंदी में कहावत है कि हर जीवन की है एक नई कहानी, सदियां बीती फिर भी होती नहीं पुरानी.
Yeah.
As humankind, we are living one grand narrative, I feel.
So true.
Which is the same. Not very significantly different, but yet we are unique in our own ways. So, and this is this whole idea is to just have these conversations and celebrate what we share in common and
that
what
uniqueness.
we are unique.
That's lovely.
So Madhura, this has been a beautiful, beautiful conversation. Thank you very much for your time, and wish you good luck in your acting career, the new production, which is that you have just finished. Look forward to seeing that someday, and hope to hear your own pen down story as a possible script for a web series tomorrow.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Milind. It was great. And I feel really good. I feel really good after this conversation and this whole process of like going through my journey through your platform. I'm really glad to be a part of it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madhura. Good luck.
Thank you.
Take care.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Thank you for your time today, my dear listeners. This is your host, Milind Agnihotri, signing off. Goodbye. Take care and stay safe. This podcast is for general information purposes only and should not be considered as a piece of any professional advice. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of its guest. Creators of this podcast expressly disclaim any and all liability or responsibility for any direct or indirect, consequential or other damages arising out of any individual's use of this podcast. For feedback and suggestions, please write to wingsindia75@gmail.com. Thank you.